in India and to be a part of this year's national conference. I had the opportunity to be here last year and also in 2012, and I'm always inspired by the energy and enthusiasm not only of India but also of this very impressive profession here in India. As I've been listening to the speakers this morning, I've been inspired too by the vision for the future. There were several aha moments, but for me there was also an uh-oh moment when Mr. Knapp was wondering what the auditors of the U.S. Postal Service might have been doing in the past. I wondered if he knew that I headed the audit operations of the U.S. Postal Service. But I can tell you that my conscience is clear because as far back as 1999, we were warning the U.S. Postal Service of the looming disintermediation that would be caused by the internet. Which only goes to prove, I think, that as internal auditors, we cannot fix the future. We can caution about it, we can warn about it, we can offer all of the credible information in the world, but ultimately management is the one who will have to make the decisions about what to do with the advice that we give them. So I would also tell you this morning, because I'm going to speak very briefly here for the next few minutes with you about the future, that it's not always as clear as it was to us in 1999 that something will happen. And I have learned one very important lesson in more than 4 decades as an internal auditor, and that is I rarely now predict what we will be auditing. Because as sure as I predict what the key risks will be that we will be auditing, I'm almost certain to be wrong. And every time I have tried to anticipate what next year's audit priorities would be, whether as a chief audit executive or as a leader in one of the big 4 or later in my role as the II CEO, almost inevitably I've been wrong because risk is very dynamic and it's very unpredictable, and we'll come back to that theme in a few minutes. What I do want to do, rather than to predict for you what the future will bring, is that I want to give you some advice as to how to be prepared for the future no matter what it brings. Because there are things that as internal auditors we should make priorities in how we serve our clients, how we serve our key stakeholders. And so there are 5 things I want to leave you with this morning. One is that we're going to need to be listening to our customers, listening to our stakeholders, and I have some insight for you about what they're saying. The second is that we have to be agile. The one thing that has distinguished our profession in the last 2 decades at least is our agility, our ability to respond quickly when risks emerge. Third is that we're going to need to really focus on the kind of talent that it's going to take, and we've had a couple of our speakers have already alluded to that. We also need to do the same thing with our own internal processes, and then finally, we need to get much better about how we advocate for ourselves. So let me go through those very quickly for you. First of all, I don't think you can ever go wrong by listening to those you support and those you serve. You know, those very iconic examples earlier of organizations and companies who have gone away, who no longer exist. In part, there was a lack of adherence to the messages that were coming from the customers. Kodak seemed to resist for the longest time the fact that people were looking for digital solutions to photography. And if we fail to listen to the customers we support, we too could be an analogous equivalent of a Kodak or one of those other companies that have gone the wayside. So what are the things that our customers are telling us today? And we've got some very fresh and unprecedented insight into what internal audit's customers are looking for. We did, working with the global firm Protiviti, IIA's research foundation, literally gathered perspectives from around the world, more than 1,100 stakeholders. That included board members and CEOs and CFOs and others in the C-suite from more than 23 countries. They followed up with interviews with more than 120 of these individuals. And so this common body of knowledge study report that came came out late last year gave us some real insight about what internal audits customers are looking for. And unlike a lot of these stakeholder satisfaction reports that come out, this one wasn't being critical of internal audit. It was simply saying, from our customers, from our stakeholders, here's what we look for from internal audit.